I also love that she was like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
I would live in a cardboard box with you, because that's how much she fully really like trusted and knew that they were going to create something, and those blinders are what kept them going. Because somebody can look at a situation or a dip in a business and be like, okay, like you've got this lawsuit going, or like you're, $50K in debt or whatever, and like what are you doing with your life? Like, how dare you think that you're going to make it? And you're like, no, I am going to make it. And you have to have that Delulu type of faith to keep going. And most people in those moments are like, just go get a job. Just go back to that crappy relationship. Just whatever. Because like it doesn't look so pretty in the interim. It's like the Dr. Kathy likes to talk about this a lot. No, I'm serious. If you guys don't follow my friend Dr. Kathy, she's absolutely incredible.
Okay, you need to give us the links on this so I can include in the show notes.
Dr. Kathy Zhang. She's actually a physician in New York who went on a spiritual journey and also now coaches people, but she deals with death every day. She's a palliative care physician.
Wow.
So the hypnotherapy was something that she helped me with and has been over the last 6 months, but most people can't navigate those moments and keep moving forward. But you got to look to people who've also been in their version of hell and who've been able to put those blinders on and say, no, I am going to make it. I don't care what this looks like right now.
Yep.
I know where the end result is. I don't know how I'm getting there maybe. I don't know what needs to happen between now and then, but I will sure as shit keep moving forward. Keep that blinder on so I can make it, so I can become friends with Layla. Right? Like,
all things go back to becoming friends with Layla Hormozi.
I mean, I joke, but it's because I think that there are probably some things that she's been through in her life that I resonate with. I think a lot of us resonate with. I had a conversation with another friend the other day, and we have very different life goals, perspectives, and she also deeply appreciates her. And I said, do you know why? And she goes, I don't know. I go, it's because she's able to be her authentic, real self no matter what. When she got a nose job, she was like, hey, I'm getting a nose job. Yeah. She wasn't trying to hide anything.
Yeah. I always think it's so funny when people try to hide plastic surgery. I'm like, just live it.
That's what she did.
Yeah.
When you can just like step into being like, this is a really ugly moment for me. It's not going to be cute, but I'll let you guys watch anyway.
Yeah.
That's what people want. They want your authenticity. And no one should sit in any room and say, I have it all figured out, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here at 35 and be like, I never got Botox. Like, give me a break. Like,
you've had Botox. I haven't had Botox yet.
Really?
Yeah.
No, dude, forehead Botox.
Yeah, your forehead has not moved. I haven't seen.
Well, it's like a little tiny.
A little crinkle.
A little crinkle. But
we have to work for that crinkle.
I think it's important to just like be your authentic self. I don't have it figured out. There are many moments in my life where I have had to fight for my dreams. And like you said, like those blinders, those vulnerable moments, those fully like bury your whole bag of crap.
Yep.
I think that's hard for so many of us. And that's why we all resonate with people who can just like have a platform and speak their truths. Because it's like, oh, if they can speak their truths, maybe it gives me another safe place to also speak my truth, because it may help one more person.
I find the farther you get in business too, I feel more, and tell me if I'm wrong, so you can be like, no, that's not the case for you.
You're just never going to be wrong. So go ahead.
But I'm actually like much more patient with differing beliefs because I am humbled by the fact that people like live them truly, you know? So it's like, I think before I'm like a super right fighter. So I'm like, when I think something's right, like my husband Josh is always like, you don't need to convince me I'm right. Like we can just like both believe different things. And I'm like, this isn't done until you tell me I'm right and you were wrong. Like that's when this ends. Like this is when the conversation's end. And even like there are so many like open loops with us, and I'll be like, and then remember this, and he's like, I'm gonna have to like, you know, like this is always it. Like always, I just need him to agree with me. Yeah. And so this is like my conflict style and all of these things. But I think as my business has grown so much with Maria, I am like so much more like open to the way that people think about things, or the way, you know, like if 5 years ago you're like, oh, like I came across a business struggle and I like did some hypnotherapy, I would have been like, okay, like that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm looking for tangible tips here, Chickie.
Also, yeah, me too. Like if anybody told me I'd be doing if anybody told me I would want to go out into nature 3 years ago, I'd have been like, you're out of your mind. Like I hate nature. I don't want to be in nature. No. And like to your point, I think you become more aware of those different perspectives actually adding so much more value
totally
to your life. Not because you need to use those tools, but because you understand that so many different tools work for so many different people.
Yes, totally.
And that's okay too. That might work for me. That may work for my friend. But for you, you're like, nah, I just need concrete evidence. That's the only thing I need to like convince my brain this is what I got to do. Mm-hmm. For me, who's like a very visual person, I need to visualize a lot of things. And so having the tool of like hypnotherapy for me was game changing. It's like, okay, let's move through this hard thing because I have already seen like the outcome that can happen.
Yeah.
And that allows me so much more expansion.
Yeah.
And when you are unwilling to see other perspectives, you don't get expansion. Mm-hmm. You get limit.
Totally.
And none of us as entrepreneurs want limit. We want it all. Like,
yeah.
And so once you start realizing that expansion comes with allowing all this stuff, allowing the woo. I wonder why you keep getting seated next to woo people.
I don't know. Okay, but I don't think I've ever said this on a podcast before. I think I'm going to just tell you this. And then whoever listens to this, you have to DM me to tell me that you've heard this. But I was told by a psychic one time. Did I tell you this?
I don't know. Have you?
Keep going. This psychic told me I was a psychic. Like she was like, and I was like, girlfriend, you're fine. You have maximum job security. I'm never coming for your job. You have never have to worry about it. But she was like, this is why this happens to you. It's like people are waiting for you to like awake. Like, and I'm like, I don't know that it's going to happen in this lifetime, but I appreciate all of you really trying. And thank you so much for always coming everywhere that I am at all times. But what I want to ask you is like, you know, you work in this like very male dominated space, this like construction space, interior, not as male dominated, obviously, but so like, you know, tactical and all of this. And then your first go-to when you are struggling is hypnotherapy.
100%.
So how do you like, you know, I think from what I hear, like, you know, with construction, that's probably like people are like pretty mathy and they're pretty like looking for sign. No?
Yes, but we're all human and we're all looking for connection. And so I think my superpower is connection and like trying to understand other people. That's always my go-to. I ask a lot of questions. Yeah. I ask a lot of questions, not to further my own self, but to understand you as a person, what motivates you, what you need, because then I can help you. Yeah. And that's in every aspect of my life. And when you're talking about like a male-dominated industry, Chris Voss, who I absolutely love and also will become friends with, has this incredible masterclass on how to really connect with people and how to make other people feel heard and seen. And that's all anybody wants. Yeah. And he's a hostage negotiator, but
is this Never Split the Difference guy?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And I think you can apply that in any aspect of your life, in any field, any business, in anything. Yes. Both personal and, you know, work related. And so when we're talking numbers and we're talking math, like, yes, you have to have competence, right? And you have to have know-how, and you have to know at least 80% of what you're saying is, based in fact. But then there is a 20% where, like, hey, there's no scenario where I'm right and you're wrong. There's a collective collaboration to get this done.
Yes.
Because there's no construction site on the face of the earth that isn't a collaboration. There are designers and architects and engineers and developers and the finance people, and all of these different sectors come together to build a high rise or a single family home or what have you. And so the interpersonal relationships, the know-how on how to communicate with somebody, those are the things that are going to be the most helpful. And like, yes, it's guys, but guys are just like girls.
Yeah.
They want connection too.
Yeah.
That's probably why every single social media platform right now is doing dating apps. That's why Facebook launched theirs. That's why people are just looking for connection right now.
Yeah.
And when you are working, you have to have, like I said, like you have to have that competence. But if somebody's frustrated in the collaboration of something, let's stop and ask what's going on here. Like, what is it that isn't feeling congruent for you? Is this something out of your wheelhouse? Is this something new for you? Is it that you don't like this other person, or they said something to you? It's always something like that.
Yeah. It's always
really
personal,
like, nobody's questioning like 2 + 4 is 6.
Yeah.
That's like fact. It's like, all right, there's something else going on under the surface of like, this collaboration isn't moving forward because somebody feels agitation around something, or feels like maybe I don't know enough to bring this to fruition, or I'm not getting paid enough and I'm resentful.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of components in whatever industry you're working in. I think that's my little bit of edge.
Yeah.
And there are tough times when I don't execute that well either, right?
Yeah.
I have a very close friend who became a client, and it was really hard navigating that, because like sometimes you have to put your foot down and you feel horrible because you're like,
totally,
you're a friend and like, I don't know how to do this without upsetting someone, and you have to be okay with upsetting someone in those moments too. That's why I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't succeed. It's because they're unwilling to go through the ugly phase of understanding all this stuff. It's like before the butterfly becomes beautiful and she emerges from her cocoon, there's a really gross, disgusting goop phase. And no one likes to watch that. Have you ever watched a video?
No, it's not of interest.
When they see, because you don't really nobody wants to see the gross parts.
Yeah.
You're like, just show me the pretty butterfly. But it's in navigating those hard conversations. It's in understanding other people. It's in doing hypnosis to figure out this hard situation. It's in that goop stuff that we are able to elevate and become and be who we want to be, and have a multi-million-dollar company and lead that sort of team.
Yes.
And most people don't want that. They don't want to suffer through that piece or like go through the goop. They're like, ew, goop.
Yeah.
So I think I went a little off tangent, but
no, I was going to say, and so if someone's in that right now, like if someone's listening to this and they're like in that phase, like what would you say, like, they should do to get out of it? Or what would be the first step?
I'm in that phase. Sheesh.
I think we're all I feel like I'm always in that phase.
A little bit, because I think you go through a goop phase and then you emerge. You're like, oh, another goop phase. But I think just be okay being in the goop. Like, stop trying to get out of it. Radical responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I messed up. If you're in the manifestation world, like I manifested this into my reality. How do I now navigate and manifest something different? and there's a lot of things that I have overcome in the last 4 years. I don't talk about this at all, and this is probably the first time anyone's going to be hearing of this, but I went through a divorce, and so navigating that while trying to build my business further and trying to be a good parent and do all this other stuff, like, dang, that Goop phase was rough. And I don't feel like I'm fully out of that Goop phase yet, and that's okay. And it's really uncomfortable. Most people don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't for even a moment. And I'm super okay being uncomfortable.
That's great.
I think that's why I've been able to keep going.
Yeah. And you have to be like, and even for us, I found that too. Like it's like every season of our business has brought on like newer challenges that like, I was like, oh, when we get there, we're going to have that figured out. So that's gonna be awesome. And then we get there and it's not figured out. And it's like more money, more problems kind of situation. Yeah. So I'm curious for you, like in the theme of this podcast, like how have you leveraged community to build your business?
Oh, wow. It's really my network of human beings that have even just been there for me, like friendships that I couldn't have imagined being so incredible on the business side. Yeah. Where I was like, I just loved you because you were my people. Yeah. And they turned around and opened doors for me that, they say like your true friends are people who speak your name in rooms of opportunity. And that has been the single greatest thing about my people and the networks that I have built and the different, networking groups that I have been in, people like you who I met along the road who I wouldn't even be sitting here right now if we hadn't met there, and people who came back into my life that I knew many years ago who have helped me navigate challenges in ways that I was like, you were the one who helped me through this? Wow, did I not realize that that's why you walked back into my life? So like leveraging just like human connection, because people who care for you truly care for you. Not the people who care for you that don't actually want to see you succeed, but like the people that deeply like know your heart level. Those are the people that speak your name in rooms of opportunity, because they can see that you are kind-hearted, that you do want the best for those around you, because you also help them. When the time is there and the things make sense, you also speak their name in rooms of opportunity. And none of them look at it as an exchange, but it typically is. Totally. Because you're like, thank you so much. Like, you helped me in ways that I don't know how to repay you for, but like when there is opportunity, I will also give in all the ways that I possibly can to say thank you. And the truth of it is that when you do that for other people, like people will look for opportunities for you. Like, and I've been like so blessed by that in my own business, where it's been like, I love to be like, oh, you should connect with this person and you make that connection for you. Like, and like beautiful friendships or like, business partnerships have grown from that. And, and then they'll be like, anytime someone will mention a podcast or social media, they'll be like, you need to talk to Kristina. And I'm like, you don't need to send me all these people that actually don't need my help, that they just mentioned social media one time to you. But like, they're just so eager to like give back, which is such a gift. And I think, being able to do that and find ways to do that with each other is just so important, and to be able to build that community up. And especially when you're building your business, I think like that community, like you have no idea who your next client's going to be. And like, we have gotten clients from people in my like personal life who I worked with 10 years ago who are like making referrals for me. And I'm like, I didn't even know you knew I did social media. Like, that's crazy. Thank you so much. But like, I'm sure it's the same for you, where people just pop up out of nowhere and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I treated that person with the respect and the kindness and the love that I treat everyone with. But like that I really showed up for that person, because in the season they're showing up for me and I haven't even needed it and I didn't even know it was there. Yeah. And it's also like the component, like you were saying, showing up for those certain people, those things may not come to fruition now. Yes. They may show up many years later, because it's like those types of moments, those kindnesses, those showing up for people, they always come back. They show you that everything is not instant gratification.
Yep.
That showing up for people is great. What I resonate with a lot is like, some people are like, oh, like don't show someone like your vulnerability, or like, don't be so nice because you'll get like backstab. I don't subscribe to any of that.
Yeah, me either.
I subscribe to let me keep opening my heart and keep being myself, and those things will come back to me. They may not come back to me tomorrow or the day after, but they come back.
Totally agree.
And we have to, leverage our own mindset almost in those moments. And like, I had somebody that I didn't know post on social media that like they were looking for somebody to do their corporate office, like design their corporate office. And 6 people recommended me because they knew me personally and had worked with me and or were friends of mine. And that person called me and they were like, what is it that you do for these people? Because why have so many people like given me you as a reference?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I must be good at what I'm doing if that many people gave you my name personally. And
I had that happen on Entrepreneurship the other day. Someone posted being like, I'm looking for a social media manager. And like 8 people I knew were like, oh, Kristina, it's Kristina. You got to work with Kristina. And then the woman came on the phone and she was like, hey, like super weird, but do you like pay these people? Like, what's the scoop here? And I was like, no, and I actually don't know some of those people, which is actually, that's a gift.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
Because like, without even knowing it, look at the ripple effect of that.
Yeah, totally.
Because somebody else spoke beautiful words about you to someone else who doesn't really know you, and they were still able to recommend you. Like, that's incredible.
That's the power of community.
That's such a powerful community. And it shows you just how we don't always see how all the dots connect until they really do.
Yeah.
And having that much impact, like, that's incredible.
Yeah. But you know what? It's like, I think what's so cool about that is that like, we do not even know who is talking about us. Like, none of us, like anywhere, like, and who's talking about us, who's watching us. Like, I've met people before where I'm like, oh, I'm Kristina. And they're like, oh yes, I know like everything about you. Like, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And like, I have people that I'm like that with where, you're watching someone online and, I've been at events and I'll sit down next to someone and I'm like, and they'll introduce themselves and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I literally know your children's names. Like, I know everything about you. And I'm just so excited to get to know you like myself. And so that's such a gift. But Kathy, this has been so fun.
Thank you so
I just saw, I looked at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that went by so fast.
That hour just like.
Also, are you going to start a podcast? And if you do, I have a name for it. It should be called, maybe there is a podcast where I call this the Goop.
Well, I'm probably going to
Paltrow.
Because she's got, but that's probably where she got it from.
The Goopy Middle, maybe? Like, I don't know. I think you should like work on this. And I think you should.
Like the 7th person who's told me I should start a podcast.
And I just want to tell you, you refuse? You don't want to have a podcast?
No.
Why?
I have so much on my plate.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not the season, but the season could come. You're very hot, so smart, and well-spoken. That is the trio combo for a podcast.
Thank you. Very kind. Very humbled by your words. I can't. That's very, very kind.
Well, Kathy, tell us where people can get in touch with you, where they can find you, and who you love working with.
I love working with everyone who has a platinum card. Please come my way. I want unlimited budgets
in New York?
only. I'm kidding. I work with anybody who is also building a brand because we do interior branding, work with, multifamily developments. We work with single family home builders that are trying to build something that's unique within their market. We help study the market. We bring something unique, a little bit of flavor, if you will, to each of the projects that we work on those types. And then personal clients who just want a cozy, beautiful home. We kind of across the board, we've even done hospitality projects. So come to us.
Yeah.
But you can find me at the Kathy Samaan or Samaan Design Group, both my social media, LinkedIn, all of it is under Samaan Design Group. So just Google us.
Amazing. Well, you don't even need to Google. You can scroll down, click the links in the show notes. Go tell Kathy how much you love this episode. Would love to hear any feedback you guys have. And Kathy, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yay. So fun.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much for listening to Community with me, Kristina Bartold, and I'm just so excited to continue the conversations. If you're looking to grow your community and learn more about social,
Join us at thesocialbusinessclub.ca and use the code podcast to get your first month for $1. Share this episode with your friends and on social, or leave a review. It means the world.